Hi, I'm Sheila Starr, and I want to talk today about ways to improve gender equality in the workplace. I've been in the workplace for 34 years in a corporate role, and now I'm coaching women. And I've seen a lot of things over the years and a lot of things that could be improved. Some has been improved, but there's still more work to do. So I want to share with you the things that I've seen, the things that I've researched, the things that I've learnt. I have spoken to over 500 women this year through webinars and engagement and coaching. So these are real opinions, not just my opinions, but what I've actually found through talking to people. So let's just start. I expect that you have an equality and diversity policy of some description. But is it just a tick box exercise? Because what I've seen is that organisations talk a good talk and they even mean well, but is there enough action? And there's a lot of pressure these days about the whole equality and diversity agenda, which is right, there should be. And it is very difficult to change and to address overnight. But I don't believe that there is enough action going on. I think there is too many tick box policies around the place. Oh, yeah, we do that, but do you really? The numbers are just not changing. The percentages of women in senior leadership roles, it's not getting any better. There was a period of time, and obviously it's better than it has been in the past, but it's not getting any better over this last 5 to 10 years. It's not really changed that much. Women still don't get paid equally. They are still not in the top jobs. And so the women are not making the impact that they could make. And women are so capable that we definitely need more of them around. We need more role models. And of course, the pandemic has only made things worse because it's involved more women homeschooling, caring for elderly parents or family and friends. And it's also led to women losing their confidence a bit because of everything that's been going on. It's been a hard couple of years. They've lost that interaction that you have in the workplace, and they're far less visible now. Because everybody's working from home, so it's much harder to get yourself out there. And women don't like being visible anyway, they tend to hide a bit. So definitely things need to change. And I've got some thoughts about things that aren't really difficult to do, but could make a big difference. So the first thing I want to talk about is policies, and actually encourage you to have meaningful policies, not bog standard policies that everybody else has got, not taking some template and going, oh yeah, that'll do. What do we need to have in here? There's some real things that can make a difference. So the first thing is your policy around recruitment. Stop adding skills to your job descriptions that are essential criteria when they don't need to be essential criteria. Women hold themselves back. They will not apply for a job unless they meet 100% of the criteria. And I have seen so many job descriptions and things, even recently, where people are asking for like 8 years experience or a specific qualification. I mean, there are some jobs where you need it, but these aren't those jobs. These are general leadership roles that you do not need these qualifications for. You definitely don't need 8 years of experience. I appreciate that there are reasons behind putting things in job descriptions and perhaps for salary purposes, but have one for the salary purpose and then have another one that you send out to encourage people. Because I'm telling you, you are missing out on a whole load of capable skills and women out there that are just not applying. I also want you to stop thinking about career breaks as a bad thing. Often it's an excuse for women not to apply because they've been raising their children for the last few years. They feel that they're not capable of coming back to a higher level role, and they come back into part-time, more lower graded roles, and they've got so many skills. It's important that you make it acceptable for transferable skills to be things like motherhood. And then you need to think about actively seeking out internal candidates and train them up, because there are lots of capable women in your organisation, but they're just scared of applying for that next level role. So you need to be actively going out, not just encouraging, but actively seeking them. Go and knock on their desk, ring them up. Come on, you need to be applying for this role. Encourage them to apply for the role. Make it easy for them to do that. The second thing I want to talk about with policies is about making sure that policies really are gender equal. Make it properly okay for the father, for the man, to share the childcare duties or caring duties. And I know that there are policies out there, and I know companies will say, yeah, it's fine for the man to leave and go and pick their child up from school. But is it really? Maybe your policy is, maybe your leadership team even think it might be, but is their manager accepting of the father going out and picking up their children when they're poorly? Because it really needs to be seen as properly acceptable. We need to be encouraging people to do it. We need to be encouraging the man to do it rather than the women, or balance it out at least to make it much more equal. Because at the moment, it is nearly always the woman that goes and deals with the children in working time. And that makes it almost impossible for women to feel that they're capable of doing those senior level jobs. So are you making it properly acceptable for the man to take on those duties? And then stop penalising women for having children. It's what women do. They procreate, and they should be able to procreate and still have a meaningful career. So you need to be allowing leadership roles to be part-time. You need to be encouraging mums to apply for these senior level roles. You need to be adapting your recruitment advertising so that when women and mums look at the job, they believe that they are able to apply and able to do the job. Adapt the recruitment process to allow for those skills that come from life, not just from jobs, because there are so many transferable skills and there are so many mothers out there that are so capable. And the skill of parenthood is an amazing skill. And there are so many things that can transfer into the workplace. So make your policies a lot more meaningful. Okay. Now, the second point here is to have actual action. I mean, not just, that old tick box action, but real action. So the first thing really is about creating an environment where it is safe to call it out, where it is safe for somebody to come and say, I've noticed that there's some real inequality going on here, or why aren't I getting paid the same as my male colleague, or why are you always appointing men into these roles? Whatever the challenge is, you need to be accepting of it, not defensive. Obviously, there's a discussion and you'll look at it and be objective about it, but you need to listen. You need to accept it. And then where there is an issue, you need to action it. You need to show the world that you are actioning it. And you actually need to really make it unacceptable to be biased, to be gender biased, to be the whole diversity piece, really. You need to be making it unacceptable, and you need to be properly calling it out and really working on it, because it's often unseen in the workplace because we've all just accepted it over the years. It's often unnoticed because people just don't see it. They just go about their life and they either choose not to see it or they genuinely don't see it. And then it is definitely ignored as well, because people don't want to deal with the conflict. They don't want to deal with that as an actual issue. So you need to be creating this space where it is okay to challenge those things and people are not fearful of the impact that it will have on them. And then you need to be proactive about this action. So when people are having meetings, actively go out and seek women, seek diversity, and include these people into meetings. Even if it's not actually their role, they may have something different to offer. They'll have an opinion to share. So particularly around like focus groups, strategy things that you're doing, but any meetings that are going on, have a look around the room. Who's sitting here? Are they all white people? Are they all men? Who is actually sitting there and think, okay, who else could we invite to this meeting that's more diverse, that might have a different opinion? And then actively invite their opinions, encourage, again, that safe space so that people can talk openly, so that people can, really judge what's going on and actually feel that they've got a space where they can talk. Because we often say that we're doing this, but are we really? Are we really doing this? And I can tell you that from the conversations that I've had, I know women who go to some of these meetings and then don't actually speak up because they're fearful of saying something silly. they're fearful of getting shouted down by the man that's sitting next to them. And I have seen this at work. I've spoken to women recently who still get shouted down in meetings, and that's how they feel. And there's no action taken in that meeting to encourage the woman to speak or to encourage the quieter people to speak. So there needs to be real action from the people chairing these meetings, the leaders in the organisation, to make sure that the women and the diverse, workforce are getting a chance to actually have their say. And then it's all about implementing a real action plan. Often we have an action plan, but it's just some stats on a tick box, or maybe there's just one performance measure that you've got on an overall strategy plan about the percentages, etc., that get reported. But what about the real action? We want to make this action more than just stats and a tick box. How is your organisation really changing? What's the feel that's going on in the organisation? Maybe you could introduce a scorecard or some kind of other performance measurement that actually measures the difference that's happening from month to month, quarter to quarter, year to year. What does your equality look like? What is the difference that your policy that you've introduced making? Is it making any difference? And if not, then review it and change it. You need to be brave sometimes around some of these actions. And sometimes you need to go out there and actually really make a difference. And then the third thing I want to talk about is investment, because organisations often put a little bit of money around equality and diversity, but again, it's not enough. It is literally enough to tick that box to say that you've got equality and diversity training in place, but how impactful is it? So I want people to really think about the women in their organisation. This isn't about investing in this sheep dip training or, as I say, tick box exercises. This is about properly going out and seeking women in your organisation, because they are there. They're hiding. They're there doing a fantastic job. Because what women do is they're really proud of doing a good job, and they will keep doing a good job. In fact, they'll do an excellent job. But they're not then ready to do the next job. And your role as HR or directors is to go out there and actually seek these women out. Who are these women that are sitting quietly doing a great job every day? And then push them, not bullying, but push them, encourage them. Don't just ask them, really give them that nudge to say, look, we need more women like you. Because you do need more women like them to step up, and they will be capable. You just have to invest in them. Use some of the current women in your organisation to be active role models, not just to do their job and be there to be seen, but to actively have conversations with other women around the organisations. Maybe arrange some lunch and learns or some coffee mornings or something where women can just get together and actually talk about what's holding them back and what they really want to be doing. And then it is about providing coaching, but it's about providing real coaching, training that actually means something, not just so that you can say that you do equality and diversity training, but some proper training that will actually address the issue. Because the issue that women have in the workplace is a lack of confidence. It's a lack of self-belief. They suffer from imposter syndrome. They feel that they're too busy. They feel that because they've got children and responsibilities out of work, that they haven't got the capacity or the time to be going for these senior jobs. So you need to be looking at much more tailored coaching, independent coaching that's nothing to do with your organisation, because people often feel a bit reluctant to talk openly when the training is actually done internally. And don't just aim for your top performers. I mean, yes, invest in your top performers, obviously, but there are other women out there that might not be your top performers, but who could be your top performers. Open it up, provide more options, often different types of sessions that might be suitable for people. Because I promise you, there is some real hidden talent in your organisation. There are women sitting there knowing that they could offer more, but just not believing in themselves. And you need to go out and find those women and provide them with options, different types of coaching and training, and put some real money where your policy is. And then the last thing really is all about time, because you need to give them time. Everybody is so busy. all the time. I mean, whenever I talk to people, they haven't got time. People aren't even investing in their own self-care. They just haven't got time. They're just so busy at work. And women particularly, they don't even have the time outside of work because they've got a family to look after. They've got a husband, they've got elderly parents or friends. There's always something else going on outside of work. So they don't have the time to do that self-development that they really need. So you need to find time. Organizations need to find time and allocate time for everybody, but I'm talking about women right now. You need to find that time. You need to give them that time, because women, they they are still the biggest people doing non-paid roles. So we need to support them. Organizations need to support them and allocate them the time for self-development. And I mean really allocate time. No, don't just say to them, oh, we're happy that you take a couple of hours each month to do it, because they won't. They'll spend that time doing some kind of work, catching up with something. So it needs to be something different. Maybe arrange something off-site regularly where women can go and talk to each other, or provide training. Maybe there's properly booked in training that they can go and sign up for. Give them that time, allow them that time. Don't make it something that is they have to squeeze in themselves. You need to find that time for them, because I promise you that the time is really holding them back. And I get it. It's really hard for businesses, and especially right now, money's tight for everybody. There's challenges for everybody. But if you really want to improve your gender equality, you have to take serious action. You can't just dilly-dally along with your nice tick box policies. And I promise you, it will be worth it, because the research clearly shows that organisations with more senior leaders as women, they are more productive, more profitable, and they have better staff engagement. Now, who doesn't want that for their business? So be interested, if you want to share any thoughts or questions on that with me, but this is my thoughts on how to improve gender equality.